tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a full-paneled Revenge after show here on AfterBuzz TV. Oh my God, it's like a miracle is happening.
Hey, be nice.
Man, if you're new to the show and you haven't subscribed yet, go over to youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. Subscribe, rate, comment, follow along. You guys have been great. We're closing in on the season finale. So much to discuss. Let's start with Britta Garsow. Introduce yourself. You are new.
I am. I'm so excited to be here. I love this show. I'm Britta Garsow. You can find me on Twitter at Britta_Garsow.
She is one half of the Wonder Twins.
Yes, that's true.
And we have Tina Cap back.
Hey guys, I missed you. I'm sorry that I've missed a couple of episodes and just stuff happens in life and you gotta roll with the punches. But I'm back, Phil. I'm back. I know you missed me so much.
She is back, and of course we have Roxy Striar.
Hi guys, you can find me everywhere at Roxy Striar, and I'm really excited to be here. And I missed you guys over the hiatus, and I'm happy that Phil is no longer going to complain to us about not having co-hosts.
Although you guys loved me doing a solo show, so that was great to hear.
You really did. You got a lot of good comments. I listened to your show, and you did a good job. I will say that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Begrudgingly, I will say it.
Well, tonight we definitely have a lot more revenge than romance. Lots to discuss, but I want to start here. Last week, we got a whole reshuffling of alliances. We got Victoria and Lyman. It was all going great. Within the first minute, it all goes to hell.
We had a lot of reshuffling in this episode, too, actually.
We did.
They're trying to mess with us. Mm-hmm. They really, since the hiatus, they really are like, this is what you think's happening. Ha! Wrong. Like, just completely whatever you think it's going to switch around. So I wasn't surprised that we started this episode on our butts.
But it's like Lyman sucks as a lawyer. All this build-up to
he looks like he's 12. Like, how long has he really been doing this?
And I never thought, oh, yes, he's definitely going to go in there and win this. Like, it wasn't going to happen that easily for Victoria. Like, you had to just know that.
Yeah.
And does he suck as a lawyer? I mean, he got all this information. Then Victoria's kind of the one who ruined it by serving the papers too early. And also, how long has he been working with Margot? Because maybe he lost on purpose because he had, like, a greater plan. I don't know if he does suck or not.
And no, we'll never know.
Or we will next week.
Maybe. By the way, I was speaking of being completely wrong, I was completely wrong about Natalie. I said she could be a good character. I gave her so much benefit of the doubt.
I never liked her. I knew she was a bad egg.
Yeah, I knew there was something, like, she wasn't just going to show up and be, like, this nice new girl. Like, you knew something.
No nice girls really come to the Hamptons.
No.
Okay.
But my argument was that
they turn bad.
I like the Hamptons.
We as a panel disagreed about Louise for the longest time, and now, with the exception of Britta, I could say we all like Louise.
Yeah, love her. She's like the best character.
I just feel like she could disappear and I'd be totally fine with that. I feel like she just doesn't bring a lot to the table.
That doesn't mean that you think she's evil, though.
No. I just don't really like her character as much as I like other characters.
Fair enough. Well, I was applying the same logic to Natalie in that regard of just being misunderstood. Clearly, I was wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. The way she went about the whole situation was so manipulative. From the second we knew that she was married to this guy who was about to die, who happened to have millions. I mean, I don't really give people like that the benefit of the doubt. There are people that happens and they actually were in love, and I do feel bad for them, but 99% of the time, come on.
And they weren't even married for that long. It was just brief. So it was really hard to believe that they were actually in love.
And then we hear what she actually did. And, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's way worse than anybody could have pictured.
Yeah.
She's probably one of the most evil that we've come across.
Definitely.
More evil than Victoria.
I was going to say that, yeah.
I mean,
if there was the great-grandfather, she would have slept with him, too.
Yeah, just...
The Grayson man household.
I was kind of confused because I felt like it all played out so fast. So she was with Conrad, right?
Right.
Yes.
And then he was with Lydia after her. Was that it?
The reason that Lydia came up was that Lydia had the same watch, and David recognized the watch, so he knew it was a watch from Conrad.
Okay.
And so that was the only reason her name was brought up. I don't know timeline-wise whether it was Natalie then Lydia, or Lydia then Natalie, or what. I think that Conrad probably had many girlfriends at the same time in many different states. And she was just one of them.
And Lydia could have been alive or dead at this point.
That's true.
Lydia can be alive or dead at any point. Yeah. You never know with her.
Pretty much.
She's back from the dead.
Well, what do you guys think about Victoria trying to help David in this respect?
I don't feel like
Showing up
that's actually what she was doing. It was a side note, and it just so happened that she could help him. But if her money was not on the line here, if there was nothing at stake for her, I don't think she would have tried to swoop in and save David.
I don't think so, yeah.
Because we don't believe that she actually is capable of loving somebody in that kind of way. Or I'll speak for myself. I don't believe that. I don't know about you.
I don't think so, especially after he tried to kill her.
Yeah.
I just think that
Casual.
there's no coming back from that. So
You don't know. You don't know what kind of.
I mean, it is revenge,
that's
so
true.
you never really know what could happen on this show.
I do think if she ever has a chance at loving anybody in the way that we as humans are familiar with people loving people, that it will be David.
yeah.
I do think that he is her best shot.
But remember that artist that she dated? Mm-hmm. I felt like she really loved him.
But what about Le Marchal?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Pascal.
Yeah, Pascal.
Yeah.
What about him?
I think she truly loved him, but he's dead, so it doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah.
But you think that she loved him more than she loves David? Or loved David at any point?
Well, it's such a different situation because of what happened with David and Victoria and Conrad back Flight 197, you know, all of that stuff. Kind of, I think maybe if that didn't happen, she would have stayed with David and he would have been her true love or whatever. But because of all that, it kind of made it like skewed for her and him to like really have true love.
We do talk about in tonight's episode, one of the themes was always remembering your first love. And he kind of did come before anybody else for her. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was there somebody, I mean, she was pregnant when she was young, but after
Well, besides Conrad, I don't know if she ever really loved Conrad, but he would have been the first.
Yeah, I don't feel like she didn't.
I think Conrad is kind of like her, not even in the positive sense, but knight in shining armor as far as her life was not very good. And then she married him and obviously, you know, her life changed. But I don't think it was true love, that it was more kind of like, I'm sure she loved him a little bit at first when they were young, but it was kind of more like he was helping her and her life was going to get better with
Like
him.
she loved
you know?
the lifestyle that came with him. Yeah.
Well, it's like she talked about, I loved that line last week. It made me laugh when she's sitting there talking to Natalie, and Natalie is saying, my life was so poor before, I was so sad before I met him. And she was like, well, of course it was, because you were poor.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess once you're rich, life's all good.
Right.
At least that's her mindset.
Yeah.
Not mine.
Yeah.
That's hers. Making it clear. Oh my God, so many fans at home right now are like, oh, Roxy, what did you just say?
No, we're all broke and happier than can be,
Our
right?
lives are a lot
I mean,
less complicated than theirs. That's for sure.
Oh my God, for sure. Absolutely. And
no money, no problems. Got it?
yeah, well, I don't know. I just think that Victoria, we look at her as this villain, and yes, she's done a million bad things before, but when you compare her to somebody like Natalie, who's capable of actually starving somebody until they're so weak and about to die, and we find that Victoria was trying to call her. She doesn't get through because Natalie's turning down the calls and whatever. Somebody who's capable of that is a whole different level. Victoria's done some pretty bad things too, but that's like a whole different level.
Yeah, because
of
Victoria
evil.
actually feels like when she ruined David's life, like she really felt bad about it forever. And I feel like Natalie obviously didn't even have any feelings about starving and killing this man.
When she ripped her shirt, I was like, "What? Why would she do that? Like, was that like a sexy thing?" And
See,
then,
okay, I just
Well,
watched...
I did. Yeah, as soon as she did that, I knew right
know?
from the because the telecast to me was
interview,
like, "What are you
yeah.
talking about?"
Yeah.
It made
like, you
no
don't know
sense.
him. What do you mean that he's got this dark that like they literally hadn't had any conversations?
Yeah.
So I was with you that was a really strange interview.
And that was like the worst acting of, help me. Help
No,
me.
David, stop.
Ow, you are hurting me. Ouch. But I think that is not the actress's fault. I think it was the worst acting and from the character, you mean.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Not her as an actress, but I'm like, if you're trying to convince someone of rape...
Yeah,
like,
or whatever, abuse.
Just be a little bit more convincing.
All right, I'm also confused with something. Was David working with Victoria to set her up and record this, or was David just happy that Victoria happened to have done this?
I think Victoria did it on her own. I don't think she discussed it with him.
His face looked confused when Victoria popped out. He was like,
Yeah, like, thank God she was there, but why was she there?
Right, because we saw when she came to the house, he wasn't saying, yeah, okay, let me join in on this plan. So unless they had a conversation in between these times, I feel like they weren't working together.
Right,
Yeah,
and
I
he
don't
didn't
think so.
hear the interview that Natalie gave where she was basically incriminating him. So, yeah, unless he spoke to Victoria in between that interview and then, which, why would they not show that to us?
Yeah.
I think it was probably...
Yeah.
just a coincidence that...
I think, like, Victoria heard the interview that Natalie gave and knew she was up to something, so then decided to, like, follow her around a little bit.
I think so, too.
Any last thoughts on Victoria and David? I don't think they're certainly not going to end up together, and
No.
and it's going to be what it is after this episode.
Well,
I don't know about that.
I don't
Really?
think, I don't
Yeah.
think they'll get together, but I feel like maybe they'll be more amicable going forward.
Yeah.
And not try to murder each other anymore.
Yeah.
Anything is more amicable than that.
Yeah,
so
basically.
I don't know. I feel like this show has been setting us up from season 1 so that if David ever did come back, him and Victoria would be
See, I
together.
don't think so. I think that the show's been setting us up for David and Emily to start a new life together.
And neither of them
Somewhere
end up
else.
with
Jack.
anybody romantic.
Hopefully, Jack. But I think the storyline centers around Emily and David because the whole thing started with her about caring about her father and avenging his death.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they do work together. At least she's gained a little bit of his trust based on the fact that she just recorded this and saved his butt.
Yeah, definitely.
Because otherwise, I was so annoyed when I didn't think that she recorded it. Because imagine the director in the show would have gone in if now he's on trial again for did he abuse her or what's going on? Like, seriously, I'm
How
done.
many times is
Right.
this guy going to get set up?
Exactly.
come on.
So I was so happy that we just like nipped it in the butt right
Yeah.
away. Because if we went down that path, that I don't want that kind of revenge.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, speaking of, after Victoria broke up with her lawyer, Lyman is now kind of working with Margot. And he's trying to get into
Was it after? Do we know that for fact? Or was she working with Lyman for a while? Like, what is the timeline?
All
on
we
that?
know is he's not working for her anymore.
Right.
But I was confused, so I'm like, you said that he could have lost the case on purpose, but since Victoria and Margot are so close, I don't think that he would do that to Victoria. Because even if he was working with Margot, or that she would do that to Victoria.
Yeah, I
know?
don't think
You don't
so
think
either.
who would do?
Like, so he could have lost the case for Victoria on purpose, but if Victoria knew that or Margot knew that he did that, I don't think she would let him because they're so close, Victoria and Margot.
Right.
So I don't think he lost it on purpose, but then maybe after the fact started working with Margot.
But you don't know with Margot because Margot and Jack are close and she's willing
That's
to throw
true.
him under the bus.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the grandmother of her child, so you would think there would be a different kind of connection. But Margot is the character I'm most afraid of right now because
That's
we just
true.
don't know what the heck she's capable of.
Yep. She's so just, you have no idea what she's going to do.
Right.
You know, it's
She's
kind
been
of
like that since the day she was introduced.
Yeah, she's very. I can't think. There's like a perfect word that I want to say to describe her. I can't think of it, but she's just kind of all over the place as far as like emotions and.
It's not scatterbrained,
No,
but yeah,
but
she's
it's like
just
she's almost like not impulsive, but
up and down, moody. Like I don't know
Yeah.
what she's gonna do next, which is
Right.
why it makes me really nervous that
unpredictable.
she's right.
Yeah.
And now we always thought that the person who would take down Emily, if there was going to be one, would be Conrad or would be Victoria. Now it's not going to be Conrad for obvious reasons, and Victoria I feel like is out of the running. And all of a sudden, here's this Margot girl who's literally about to tear everybody's life apart, and it's like, what? Where did you even come from?
Yeah.
How did you even get to this place?
and how did she? I'm interested to see what's going to happen next week because how could she come to the fact like she's pregnant, she has a baby growing inside her, but she's okay with having Jack's kid being taken away from him.
Right.
Like, that's really, really, like, cold-hearted for her.
Absolutely. And supposedly that's the time in your life when you are the most compassionate, when you are pregnant, you have all these emotions going through you, and you're thinking about having a kid, whatever it is. And she does sit there last week, and she talks with Jack, and she says, you know, when's the last time you did something unpredictable or whatever it is? And I really feel like they connected. And I felt like she...
But he lied to her, remember?
About
Yeah, but she
the
didn't know at
bracelet?
the time.
About the
with the
yeah, 'cause she
bracelet?
found out about the bracelet, and she said, you know, you've made your friends.
He only lied to her if she was going to go through with that. The bracelet wouldn't have been a lie if she didn't try to get into that computer, because nothing would have happened. What he said, the words he said, were not lies. You know, he wasn't trying to, like, deceive her. He was saying, I'm here for you. And Jack stopped his friends from doing something even worse. I really felt like he was there for her. But she, just with, like, the straightest face of all time, is like, me too, and is just completely stabbing him in the back.
I just think it's crazy how she's taking, like, not a small thing. Obviously, Daniel died, but she's making it this huge thing, trying to ruin everyone's lives. And she knows the story. She knows that he was just trying to protect Emily, not like Emily did anything intentional to hurt him.
People's lives that aren't even relevant to
Yeah.
this. Like, nobody you even met before.
Yeah, exactly.
And she could easily just go down the route that Victoria is taking now that she's getting her money back. She's going to use it towards the Daniel Grayson Foundation and try to restore his name that way, which is like completely out of left field for Victoria. You would expect her to be doing the stuff that Margot is. But like Margot just can't let it go and can't move on and can't try to, like, I don't know. I agree with you. I think that she's involving people that don't need to be involved.
Is there any saving her at this point? Like, is there anybody who could say something or anyone who could convince her that...
Victoria was the one that would have done it.
yeah,
and
Victoria's the only one she trusts.
And, well, it's not that even Victoria was the one that tried it, and she's lying to Victoria. Mm-hmm. She said, "I've given this up," and Victoria said, "Hey, I'm proud of you for dropping it."
Yeah.
Which clearly is not the case, and by involving people like Lyman and all these other people, I feel like the more people that she feels like she involves, the better.
So,
because then the chances of the secret going out are much greater, to the point that Lyman's dead.
right. And what she was trying, maybe that would be the thing that stops her when somebody actually ends up getting hurt.
That's
Maybe
true.
she'll wake up and be like, uh-oh, this is more than... But she
It
doesn't.
doesn't seem like that in the previews.
Yeah.
So...
So I doubt it, but if there was anything, somebody dying, that's the ultimate.
Yeah.
I mean, if she's not willing to lose Daniel, but other people's lives she doesn't care about, that says something about her. So what exactly was she looking for from Lyman? She wanted...
just secrets from Nolan's computer.
yeah, but
On the, flash drive.
right, that's what he goes in to get, but what is she thinking she's going to find? She's just trying
Well,
to
the
get
said-
certainly the fault. Right, tonight we
birth
falsified
certificate.
the birth certificate, and so if he's able to hack and do all these various things, he's got quite a few of these files on hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's known to be a hacker, so he's got to have something.
I felt like a few weeks ago I really stood up for Lyman, thinking that he didn't have anything to do with Louise's delusions and the medication. It was all the mom. And now I'm confused on whether he was really this horrible guy all along or whether he is just a bad brother.
I think it's so simple. It's just about the money. That's all he cares
For
about,
him
because
and his
he
campaign.
wants to continue his campaign, and so he will go to extreme lengths, whatever the costs may be, to continue his campaign and, do what he needs to do for himself. He obviously doesn't care about Louise or anyone for that matter, but as long as he's getting the money and being able to get funded and continue his campaign, I think that's all that he's focused on.
Louise is looking for something to do. Do you think that there's any chance now she would take over his campaign trail and try to run herself? Because I feel like she's like, oh, babysitting, oh, all this, no one's so busy.
I don't think she would, just because it would totally get out that she was in a mental hospital, and I just think that's kind of setting herself up to fail.
I guess, but maybe she could just kind of have a purpose then?
Yeah.
I feel like she needs a purpose. She's making mistakes and messing up because she literally has nothing to do to exist.
She needs a baby, I think. She seems to love them. So.
Yeah.
She needs a baby.
Margot?
No.
Louise.
Louise needs a baby.
Because she loves babies.
Oh, well, she should totally take care of Carl.
Yeah. She should be the nanny or something.
Well, now she's got her own daycare.
Yeah.
So that's...
But we don't know what's going to happen with Carl. For all we know, that he's going to go into foster care. You know, after
there is
what happened
zero
tonight.
way. First of all, this whatever's going on with this breathalyzer situation is outrageous.
Yeah.
Like, we just saw him come from work. Unless he's ripping shots behind the bar, which we know he's
But
not
he
doing.
cheered with orange juice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was orange juice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So unless he's doing something that we're unaware of, which he's definitely not, he's sober. So obviously he's getting set up here, which means that some form of policemen are in on this. They're gonna get caught. There's
Well,
no
didn't
way.
he say that all of the whole bureau like hates him or whatever?
Well, because he
Yeah.
left, so he certainly doesn't have a good standing reputation, and his
Right, so
Ben
if
doesn't have.
Margot called those guys and said, "Hey, I'll give you this much money if you fake this and say pull Jack over," blah blah blah. Like, of course, if they're rogue cops or whatever you call them, beat cops, like
Remember
they'll
how
do
the
it.
chief of police, though, was in under Victoria's wing?
Yeah.
I'm just
Perez.
thinking that probably he had his people and Margot knew some of his people, whatever. I don't know if she just made like a cold call and was like, who wants to take the money for this?
I'm sure she
Just some sort of in.
Yeah, definitely. What I didn't get was when Ben and Emily showed up, why Ben didn't intervene.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, because I'm like,
He's a police officer.
right, and
should
I'm
know.
sure he knows all those guys.
But at
Yeah.
the same time, they were taking him in fast. But plus, he's off duty. You know what I
But
mean?
still, I just felt like he could have done something.
He,
Or
I
at least
agree,
said what's
but-
going on here. You know, it
he
was just
probably
weird.
just didn't want to interfere in a situation that he had no idea what was actually happening in. And after the fact, I do think he'll be able to help out. But
Yeah.
during, it's like jumping into a fire and you have no idea what the surroundings are, who's inside. He just probably wants to gather up information, but I definitely think he's going to go have Jack's back.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning of them being partners, he really didn't have his back, but by the end, I feel like he really did. Although he is sleeping with Emily, so. Wah, wah.
Yeah, but at
But
the same
does
time,
Ben
he's going to
know?
help her.
Because when they were in the car in that scene, and they were talking about the first loves, and she said Jack, and he's like, "Wait, Jack was," and then she's
Jack,
like, "No,
question
Jack."
mark?
He knows
But-
that they slept together.
Okay,
or
so he knows that
were
they had
together.
feelings for, or at
remember-
least Jack had feelings.
I don't think
for
he
her.
knows the
Jack said-
extent of it.
Remember what
Okay.
Jack said to him when they first were partners, and Ben was like, "I think I'm gonna try to ask this girl out," and Jack was like, "Hold off, like I'm trying to figure out my own stuff there." So he knows something. I don't think
Okay.
he knows what, but he definitely knows
It's
something.
weird he hasn't asked her, though.
that
Yeah.
Yeah, well, because she's never been willing to tell him
I
much
guess
of
that's
anything.
true. But he
Yeah.
just opened up about his ex-wife, told
To a
her-
degree.
To a
Yeah.
degree, until she found out the real truth.
and
but-
she opened up too about Aiden.
She did, yeah.
But it's weird because they're talking about how you never lose feelings for those people, and Aiden is dead, but
Yeah.
his ex-wife is alive,
Yeah.
and they're going to see her, and he blatantly admits to having feelings.
But that
I
brought
know.
him closer. That's when the hand reached.
Well, she's not a jealous girl, so she handled that well. But I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't consider myself particularly jealous. But if I'm driving in a car with the guy that I'm dating, and we're going to see his ex
to
and
protect his ex
to
from
go protect
yeah.
his ex, and he admits to always having feelings for her, that's going to be like a conversation.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
Like,
I
I'm not
agree.
going to just be like, yeah, cool, no worries, bro.
To be
Like,
fair, you could make
yeah.
anything a conversation.
that's true. That's true.
But that
No,
should
I
be a
agree.
conversation.
Right.
It was weird that they kind of just brushed it off.
Which shows she really doesn't care about their relationship
Yeah,
that
that's
much
true.
as of yet. I actually do think that they would make a good couple.
It
in-
is just so
in
early
life.
on.
Because they're a good team.
Yeah, they are.
They made a
Tina
good team
Cap
tonight.
called it since the beginning.
I'm so happy.
You know who's the best team? Emily and Aiden. But that didn't work out.
True.
Like,
I did like them together.
Yeah, they were amazing. And I'm so torn at this point. First of all, we don't know how many seasons Revenge is going to go for. And second of all, it's like this show set us up to want Jack and Emily. That's what they wanted us to want from the beginning, right? Showing us their whole backstory and having them as kids. But then when you get introduced to Aiden and he's like incredible and you're like, I'm sorry, should she be with Aiden or should she be with Daniel? Because Daniel was kind of great too at that time.
In the
And she
beginning,
has-
yes.
Right, before, and she kind of ends up screwing him over, and
Yeah.
no, he doesn't end up being the best guy, but he does save her in the end, and Aiden dies and Daniel dies, and then if she's with Jack, is it just a consolation prize? Or now there's this guy that we haven't even seen and we're on the 4th season, and now is he going to be the one? It's just like, I really don't, maybe she should just end up alone, because I don't know anymore.
The only reason I want her, I love Jack. I just really love him. But the only reason I want her to be with him is because I felt like he's such a normal guy that can give her a normal life that she deserves and probably wants, deep down.
I don't feel like she wants that, though, because if she
Really?
wanted that, I feel like she could have had it. Or maybe she just doesn't know she wants
Well,
it.
I feel like Aiden wouldn't, a life with him wouldn't have been normal, or with Daniel.
But maybe normal isn't what she's looking for. Like at that one point when Aiden was like, let's just leave and let's run away together and let's go to
But they were going to go,
Yeah,
right?
she could have done that.
She could have done that and that would have been like perfect.
Yeah, but
she
weren't they
didn't.
going to go?
Weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
were.
they were.
Yeah.
But then
so
they didn't.
she did want to go.
Yeah, but you're saying, it never would have been normal with Aiden. It still would have been like exciting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not saying I'm against Emily and Jack because I do. Part of me wants them to end up together because I've wanted that since day one. But there's just been so many.
But what about the fact that, okay, so Ben says, April wanted something less predictable.
Right.
And so is Ben predictable?
I
Clearly not in terms of Emily and what's happening today.
He also says, she says it was 10 years ago. I think when you're young, what
You're
it
predictable?
means, no.
As a 20-year-old, you're more...
That's not all I was just going to say. I think when you're young, what you want is like the bad boy or the guy that you feel like is going to go do something crazy for you or is intense and you're up and you're down and it's not necessarily good or healthy, but it is like exciting and you're crying and you're screaming and you're loving and whatever it is. So I think what she was saying is he wasn't that intense. And I think as you get older and you actually realize what makes you happy, maybe it's not somebody who's throwing things at you and then the next moment like loving.
Yeah, like their relationship probably would have worked out if it was later in life.
Right. That's what I kind of gathered from
Yeah.
it. Maybe not, but it would have had a better shot for sure.
Yeah.
Because she came back to him and said, like, hey, now I'm with this guy and I'm scared. And that's what she thought she wanted, but clearly she didn't. And there's somewhere in between, too.
I kind of feel like Emily will get bored with Jack. Like it's maybe too normal for her. You know what I mean?
I feel like she's never had a normal life, though. I really think she'd enjoy it. Because ever since she was little, she was in juvie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's never had a normal life.
I know, but that's what makes me think like she's just so used to it, and especially as of late with all the revenge in the past, however many years she's been doing this.
That's true.
What would it even look like, a life with Jack? Like, she would, like, the Jack,
They'd
own a bar.
Jack and Carl and Emily would, like, chill on the beach and tan or
They
something.
would get a new dog.
A new Sammy?
A new Sammy.
I mean,
Danny.
Sammy, right?
Danny
Sammy.
would be the dog. The new dog's name
Oh,
would be Danny.
Danny.
Oh.
Okay, yeah.
yeah, well, if it was a boy. Or a girl. Girl could be Danny.
Yeah.
D-A-N-I.
There you go.
I'm already spelling their dog's name, see? I could picture it. No, I don't know. I don't know how she'll end up, but I do think it's smart for her to take a little time to just, like, figure that out before she does jump into it with Jack and break his heart.
No,
somehow.
I agree, yeah.
But she's never had time to figure much of anything out. Even when she thought revenge was over, right? She was not planning on Margot to be this huge threat.
Of course not, because who thought Margot was going to end up doing this?
Yeah.
Nobody.
I never really trusted her. Honestly, I don't trust anyone except for Nolan and Emily.
Yeah,
Really,
you
just
can't
on
trust
edge about them all.
somebody who does their hair the way Margot did her hair. You can't trust that person.
I never liked her either. I really just never liked her.
No,
realized
I
that.
never really did.
Yeah, I think she was a better human when she was with Jack originally than when she was with Daniel, and then things have just gotten so dark and twisted for her. I don't even think she recognizes herself anymore.
Yeah.
She probably at one point was a decent person, no longer, because she just killed somebody. Speaking of which, when she does kill Lyman,
Well, she didn't kill Lyman,
but
but
she kind of
her
does.
actions did.
Her actions kill Lyman. What's the deal with Louise's reaction to that? She's like, yes, she's in shock, but Nolan comes home and she's like, okay, he's just passed out after a few too many drinks in our living or in
Well,
the
here's
guest
the
room.
thing. You have to understand, like, she literally stood up and caused, I would say one of the biggest arguments that they've ever had over him, saying that, he's changed, I wish you could see the side of him, etc. And now he proves her wrong, right? Lyman does, not Nolan, to the fact that, she has to protect Nolan's life the way he's protected her life, and out of this, he's dead. And because of these actions, it has led to the death of her brother. And so you now not only have to admit that someone died, but that Nolan was right.
all along, yeah.
Completely. But what I'm curious about is what does she think's going to happen? Like,
Well,
Sorry.
no, I just think she wanted to tell him in the beginning when she said, I did something bad. I think her intentions were to tell him, but then once he, like you said, she didn't want to prove him right, and he came out and apologized and was like, it's your family, you're right, blah, blah, blah. And then I think she felt like, crap, now I can't tell him like what happened because then he's just gonna be mad at me again. Maybe I think she was thinking that, like, you should have listened to me in the first place. I was right. Blah blah blah.
Well, it's like she's gonna be a continual screw up for the rest of her life. You know, someone's always looked out for her and told her she's wrong, and so in this case with him, she just didn't want a parental figure. She wanted someone equal to her.
It was really sad to watch him fall the way that she watched her father fall. Like, I know it wasn't a staircase, but it was like such a strange parallel for her. And I think she's probably just so broken at this point that I really don't even know how she would have had that conversation with Nolan.
Yeah.
She's going to have it because inevitably either she lifted him and dragged him into the room or there's nobody in the room.
There's no way.
that's
She
true.
even said she had Aunt Me Feebles.
Yeah. No bothering.
To me, it almost seemed like she was trying to convince herself that this didn't happen. Like, oh yeah, he just had too many drinks. He's like, in her mind, that's what she would rather have had happen. So she didn't want to deal with it at the time and made up the story.
But here's the, if you guys are wondering, like, if he's gonna end up in the room, he can't. He's just gonna. He woke up from his drunken whatever and went outside and fell off a cliff. Yeah. That's what the story that.
Oh, that's what she's gonna try.
That's
to
what
say.
we're gonna. Yeah, that's what we're gonna try to pass off.
But how close in an autopsy can you get to somebody's time of death? Because I'm pretty sure you can get like
Almost exact.
yeah.
And how much did he even drink at the party?
It didn't look like it.
Yeah. So
maybe.
Well, I think that the autopsy is going to show that more than anything.
But the smarter question would be: did she go down there and get the file that he had?
yeah.
Or not? Is she trying to set him up and show what he did, or what is she going? What's the story that she's going to actually try to prove?
No, because I think if the cops actually looked at that, then Nolan, it would be incriminating evidence for
Right.
That's true. She probably threw it in the water.
The smartest thing that she could do is come clean to Nolan so that Nolan can start cleaning up this mess while she goes to bed. Like,
That's true, yeah.
I know that sounds ridiculous, but honestly, if she had just sat there and said, listen, Lyman came, you were right, he was pulling files off, we fought over it, he fell over the cliff. Obviously, she says it with more tears in her eyes.
Yeah.
He's dead, I don't know what to do. Nolan's like, okay, beep boop, Emily, come on over. We
Yeah.
gotta deal with something. Emily comes over, like the two of them who are superheroes,
Here's
by
the
the way,
thing,
weirdest
Yeah.
comment.
Emily's dealing with Jack, though. You have to also understand timeline wise.
As if Emily wouldn't come over when she hears that Lyman's dead.
And I just think that, I don't know why she didn't tell him, because Nolan is not the type of person to be like, oh, I told you so, and like, rub it in their face. Like, he really cares about the people in his life. So he would have helped her, and he wouldn't have judged her at all.
I'm obsessed with their relationship. That's why I'm nervous about this, because I really need her to be honest with him so that they have a chance of lasting. Because we've kind of started getting into territory where they might have romantic feelings for each
Yeah,
other.
that's true.
Which would be just incredible, because I think when best friends end up together, it's great, and they do seem like best friends at this point. So who knows? Maybe it crosses into that territory. I just love them, and if she lies to him about this, I think that he won't be able to forgive her or trust her.
Yeah, that's true.
And finally, he does trust her after so long.
And he even admits tonight, he doesn't. It's a tricky relationship.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does say he's attracted to her.
That's true. We've never heard that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's interesting with him because we've seen him with men, we've seen him with women, we've seen him with people he didn't care about, we've seen him with people he did care about, and this just seems to be like the most genuine connection he's had. to
And
somebody.
unexpected
Yeah.
for him.
But he did say, no one finds me attractive when I have this ring on. So he clearly is not fully there with
Committed.
her,
Absolutely.
but I could see it happening.
Yeah. Well, because he doesn't need to be yet. It's not like they've been dating forever. Their first date was
so
their
rushed,
wedding.
Yeah.
So maybe after you date somebody for a few months, you know a little more. We'll see.
Isn't that what dating is?
Yeah.
Jack tells Emily.
They're just dating while married.
So there you go. Anything else about tonight's episode that we might have missed? Trying to look over everything, but
No, I
for the
think
most part, we covered a lot.
I think that we're good.
Poor Wes. Wes, this actor just came in for this little part.
The fact that you just said poor Wes makes me a little nauseous. Phil.
Yeah.
His face in the police car was like,
I know,
"Grr."
like staring at her, just like,
He didn't even know who Emily was, and he came at her with
Yeah.
a freaking club.
Well, she did say, I'm like your whatever.
I'm the
your
person
nightmare."
you don't want to mess with. And if I were him, I'd be like, all right, and walked out.
Yeah.
but
what
it is
issue does he have with
revenge.
her?
He could've
It's like,
just
what
turned
point
around
would he
and
have to
walked
mess
out.
with her?
Yeah, why? Like,
Yeah.
it's not like, I think that he probably was abusive to his ex because some sort of power thing, whatever. This is a random girl.
Yeah,
In a
but
public place.
Yeah, that you don't know, and she just told you don't want to mess with her.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, okay. But then again, I wouldn't abuse anybody.
Yeah.
So can't really put myself in that mindset.
Amazing. Let's see. There were some great lines by Nolan. Whenever you have betrayal, just make sure to give yourself an extra 15 minutes.
My favorite line of the night was Emily's line to her dad saying, "What the hell, Dad?" when she finds him on the boat. And I was like, she sounded like a teenager.
I know.
Like, it's amazing to see her kind of have, like you were talking about, a little bit of a normalcy to her life. Like, what the hell, Dad? I was like, who just said that? Like, what?
How about the, even though we don't like Natalie, but her line, like, the best part about picking up a girl for a party is you get to bring her home.
I know.
So scandalous.
I know.
I actually really like that.
Hashtag a little bit slutty. That's okay. Happens to the rest of us. I need her to be gone. Her and Margot can go tag team somewhere else.
Yeah.
But she laid it out pretty well because even she says,
Yes, she did. She laid it all out there.
because she even mentioned the bruises.
Yes.
I'm clumsy and I bruise easily, so she was setting herself up to have bruises for later.
Oh, that's
and
true.
he wouldn't get suspicious.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, smart.
Boom.
Look at Phil paying attention.
I watched Gone Girl last night, and it reminded me all of it.
Right?
This reminds you of that?
Yeah, when she ripped her sleeve, I'm like, I know what she's doing because I just saw that movie.
Yeah. Wow, there are a lot of similarities, actually. It's
There you
interesting.
go. Go see that movie. All right. Why don't we head into some predictions?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So next week, by the way, we were supposed to get the red Sharpie. We got a mention of the red Sharpie in tonight's episode. We didn't
Yeah.
quite get the red Sharpie.
We
Just
did.
FYI.
Once you uncap the red Sharpie, it's really hard to recap it. I'm like, no, it's not. Just poof. Ha.
Good
No.
work.
Thanks.
Next week, we see Emily fighting a man. We don't know who.
What did that
You
look
really
like to you
couldn't
guys?
tell.
I don't know. At first, I was like, is that Ben? And then I was like, is that David?
Maybe,
brown
but
hair.
I was thinking maybe it might be Margot's PI.
See, I was thinking that too.
Because
Because from the back, he looks
What if it's
similar.
Wes? Or Wes 2.0?
But Wes is
Les.
long
Wes had
hair.
long hair.
and Wes is in
He got a
jail.
haircut.
We also, I think we're supposed to this season see some people from past seasons, so maybe they're not trying to tell us
So
who it
who?
is.
Lydia.
Lydia.
Put the wig on.
No, Mason Treadwell.
Yeah,
He looked a
okay.
little too fit for Mason Treadwell.
Who's grown much taller, apparently. And out of prison.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. He was a tall man, and the only tall person that kind of out of the men that we know of is Ben.
Yeah. But why on earth are Ben and Emily fist fighting?
Right,
That's
that's
why
why
It's
I
actually a
thought
love
this was-
scene.
Yeah, you don't know. People are into some weird things these days.
That's why it made sense if it was the PI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just going to physically come after her after she just keeps outsmarting them.
And we do keep seeing the PI over and over
Yeah.
again.
And
No
in-
mention of his name or anything, but he shows
Yeah.
up.
Emily and Margot have kind of a face-to-face, or so it looks like at least.
And then Margot gets hit by a car. So that happened.
I don't.
David Clark almost got hit by a car earlier part of the season.
I
remember?
don't think
Yeah.
she's gonna die, but I think her baby will die.
Yeah, and I thought that from the beginning. As soon as she got pregnant, I'm like, she's
I
not
knew she
gonna
was- yes.
yeah, keep this baby. It's gonna die.
I thought she was gonna have a miscarriage when she was so stressed at that one point in, a couple episodes ago after Daniel died and stuff. I thought, remember when she like went down to the prison or to the police officers, the station or whatever,
Yeah.
and like passed out and all that stuff.
Right.
I thought she was gonna have a miscarriage, but maybe this time the car will just help her out with that.
Maybe she'll have a miscarriage and then not tell anybody she had one, so people still think she's pregnant.
She
and,
would
feel
do something
bad.
like
yeah,
that.
Totally. You could totally.
But eventually she's got to get like a little bit bigger.
the fake belly going on.
yeah.
Oh yeah, she'd do that.
Beyonce belly.
That's Arrested Development type stuff.
Yeah, she'll pull the fake belly move for sure. I'm scared about her getting hit by a car. Any shot at all that she dies?
No.
I hope
I
so.
don't think she dies. It would be too easy.
Yeah, especially we had so many deaths in the last
Yeah.
few weeks that I think that'd be too soon.
Yeah, how
and
would
then there was a gun to Emily's head too. Sorry, I just remembered something.
That
from
was
the
part
preview.
of the fight.
Oh, that's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would fight somebody who put a gun to my head too. Maybe it was a practice. Maybe Ben came up like trying to see how quick she could be, and
That's
she's
true.
like, boom, boom, boom,
Or
boom.
But it
maybe,
looked like
like-
it was a weird setting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it has to do with Margot.
What do we do about
getting hit by
Jack?
the car. What do you mean? What do we do about Jack?
Well, he's the Achilles heel.
Yeah, I don't know. We saw Jack's babysitter tonight. Maybe there's going to be some romance there.
I think Jack needs to be alone for a while. But he did say to Emily, like, I'm not going to wait.
Yeah.
So that was kind
Good
of
for him.
foreshadowing.
He shouldn't wait.
Yeah, he shouldn't, no.
But you also shouldn't go after the first person that's available.
Why
No.
not?
You know what? That's where you and I differ.
That's where
It's
we
so
differ?
easy. I mean, they're just there, so.
It's called a rebound, Phil.
Yeah.
Come on. Not that you can really rebound from somebody you
Hashtag
weren't with.
slutty.
What'd you say?
Nothing.
He said hashtag slutty, but he was still referring to
Just a
Natalie.
little
bit.
I know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. All right, guys. So, what a great episode. In the meantime, thank you guys for joining us on another Revenge After Show. All right, I'm going to call it on air right now. Who's committing to next week?
I'll be here.
Roxy's here.
I'll be
Tina
here.
Cap is here.
Yes.
You're here.
I'm not sure yet. I want to be here, but if I'm not in town.
We'll have a rotating panel. This show is Revenge. It's tricky. It's up in the air, so we'll rotate for you.
We
guys.
try to keep you guys on your toes, just like the show.
Good one.
Good work.
Clever, Tina Cap. I see what you did there.
All right. Well, where can the people find you, Britta?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Britta_Garsow.
And Tina Cap.
You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Tina Cap.
You guys can find me everywhere at Roxy Striar.
And of course, here at AfterBuzz TV, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Shout out to Sky Striar
My
for
little
making
sister.
making the trek out and enjoying some AfterBuzz shows. And shout out to you guys at home, watching, listening.
Watching. That's a good one.
They're watching and listening. They're watching.
Yeah.
It's a new one.
It is a new one. We'll see you here next week for another Revenge After Show on AfterBuzz TV.
Woo-woo.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.